Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've been doing well. Today I'm going to be doing a wear and tear update on my St. Laurent Niki bag, and this is in the medium size. I've already done a first impressions and initial review on this bag, so if you want to see that as well as mod shots, I will link to my other video. Normally I wouldn't really do a wear and tear video until at least the 6-month mark, but I did have a lot of questions about wear and tear on this, and I also know with the holidays coming up and with a lot of retailers doing discount codes, some of you might be interested in purchasing this bag for the holidays. So that was another reason why I wanted to try and do a wear and tear video sooner rather than later. And lastly, this really has been my go-to bag for the fall. I think it's such a great fall bag and I have been using it quite a lot in the last 2 months, so I thought it would be okay to do a wear and tear review now. But like I said, this bag is only about 2 months old, so I don't expect to see a ton of wear and tear, but there are a few places where I already see a little bit of wear, so I wanted to point that out to you guys. Overall, this bag is still in really good condition. The corners still look great. There's a little bit of like wrinkling, but I think that's just sort of the nature of this bag. So the leather of this bag is lambskin and it is quite thin. It's not as thick as the Lulu puffer bag where that has the puffy quilts. So in general, I would say like it's just a lot thinner. So that's something to keep in mind. So the bottom part, there's no feet and there's none of the chevron stitching. So it's just gonna be totally flat. So this is one area where I could see in the future some sort of wear and tear either on the corners or just marks on the bottom. But so far that looks good. And the bag is not super structured. I have this stuffed right now, but because the leather is on the thinner side, there are gonna be sections like here and here where the structure is just gonna be uneven. And I think that is kind of just the nature of this bag in general. So the way the sides kind of like jut out a little bit, that's not really going to be even. So if that's something that bothers you, definitely keep in mind. For me personally, that doesn't bother me at all. I think that's just kind of the way the bag is supposed to look. The back looks really good so far. There's no scratches, there's no color transfer. Someone had asked me if I was going to color treat this bag, and to be honest, I haven't done anything with it yet, but I wouldn't rule it out in the future. And that's mostly because with this particular bag, the last 2 months, I've been wearing it with lighter colored sweaters like this, where I just kind of have it over here. So there's really no danger of color transfer when I have it wearing a sweater or a lighter colored jacket. If I knew for sure I was going to be wearing this bag crossbody with dark denim, then I absolutely would treat it with some sort of color transfer Carbon Pro spray. So there's the back again. The chains look really good. I have no complaints on the chains. Someone had asked me if this bag is heavy, and I think by itself, it's not really that heavy, but because of the way it's laid out and the capacity of it, large interior and the smaller pocket up here, as well as the back pocket, if you had this bag fully stuffed and you wore it around all day for 8 hours, then I could definitely see it being heavy and a little bit cumbersome. But I think it's just up to you, and it kind of depends on how full you would carry this bag. If you carry this bag and you really just had your wallet and your phone and like a mini pochette, then I don't really think it's that heavy. So obviously everyone has a different preference of what they can tolerate, so keep that in mind, but that's just my personal opinion. The handles look good. There's a little bit of wrinkling in the leather, and I honestly don't remember if that was there before or if that's developed over time. I do think that perhaps the St. Laurent Paris, which is embossed in the center, that's already faded a little bit, and that's probably gonna fade a little bit more as time goes on, just because with where this is placed, it's just gonna be hitting on your shoulder almost the entire time. So I could definitely see that fading even more as time goes on. So that's something to keep in mind. But you know, it doesn't really bother me. I think that's kind of natural wear and tear. It's a nice detail that they have embossed there, but I wasn't expecting that to stay around forever considering it's on the shoulder. The only place where I actually really do see wear that I want to alert you guys about is the stitching. So the stitching here, you can see that it's in kind of like a chevron pattern, like where it makes a V. And I don't think the stitching on this bag is flawless. So for the most part on the front, it looks okay, especially from far away, you can't notice at all. But if you look really closely, there's a spot right here where the stitching, it hasn't popped exactly, but it's definitely fraying a little bit. And I will insert photos. So it looks like one layer of the stitching has kind of like frayed off, but for the most part, it's still intact, but it might not stay that way. So definitely that's one area of concern that I saw almost immediately. And then this is on the inside, so let me just show you guys. But there is a spot right here. Sorry, let me flip it over. There's a spot. It's gonna be really hard to show on camera, so I might just have to insert photos. But there's a spot right here. Do you guys see where my fingernail is? Where the stitch has definitely popped. So there's that. So that was kind of disappointing. Luckily, this is on the inside of the bag, so it's not super noticeable. But when I saw that, I was kind of like, oh man, like that's not good right there. I'm not 100% sure if this arrived like this and I just happened to not notice it because I was just kind of way too excited to have this bag, or if somehow I caused this in the last 2 months. But for a bag that's only 2 months old, to see pop stitches already is definitely kind of disappointing. So keep that in mind. I was curious if anyone had any experience with taking a bag to a Saint Laurent store to kind of get it fixed or spruced up a little bit if it hadn't been purchased from Saint Laurent directly. Since I did buy this bag from Farfetch, let me know if you have any experience with that. I'm definitely curious. So far, those 2 stitches are fairly minor. At least the one on the front is really minor, and the one on the inside, it's on the inside, so there's just nothing I'm really gonna do about it now. But I am just curious in the future if that's just gonna get worse over time, or if there's gonna be more frayed stitches or more pop stitches. If you have this bag, I would love to know what your wear and tear experience has been. What should I look out for in the 6-month mark, 1-year mark? Definitely let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what your experience has been. But because this bag does have a lot of stitching, so there's stitching all around the front, all over this pocket right here, and then also just kind of on the seams, like right here, and it goes all the way down and onto the back as well. There's plenty of places for pop stitching on this bag. I would say that is my biggest warning about this bag, is just the stitching on it. The inside still looks really great and clean, except for that pop stitch right here, but there's no marks at all. There's a little bit of scratching on the magnet right here, but I think that's to be expected. I did take the sticker off, obviously, so there is going to be some damage to that. With the logo, it still looks pretty good, but I could see just from the naked eye, there are tiny little marks up here, and maybe down here where the L is, and I will try to insert photos because it might be hard to see on camera. It doesn't bother me too much, but I do think that over time this might get a little bit worse, so just something to keep an eye out. I would say this is a bag that, unless there is a color combination that's kind of rare, you're having trouble tracking down, I probably wouldn't pay full price for this. Fashionphile has a ton of these on the pre-love market for a really, really great price. And especially with Black Friday coming up, there are other retailers that might be doing discounts. Like I would check Saks. They usually do a discount around Black Friday, and Saint Laurent is sometimes included. And other retailers such as Farfetch or Net-a-Porter will sometimes have this bag at a discount. So definitely look around before you pull the trigger. But if you do check on Fashionphile, they're doing a pre-Black Friday promo where I think it starts tomorrow and it goes until Wednesday. And you can get $100 off, $1,000 spend, $200 off, $2,000 spend, and I think it goes up to $5,000. So definitely check that out. Fashionphile, you know, some of their more popular items will cost retail or a little over retail, but for the Niki bag, that's really not the case. For this particular bag, you can definitely find some good deals. So I will link some down below if you're interested in looking at that. So that's pretty much it. I would say stitching and the hardware are the 2 main areas right now that I'm kind of being mindful of and looking out for. But in terms of color transfer, marks, corner wear, I haven't really experienced any of that yet. That's all a really good sign. And would I still recommend this bag? Absolutely. I think this bag is so great. What I like about this bag is that it's slightly slouchy, but it still has enough pockets for you to organize everything. I love the magnetic closure on the front and the back. I think that's such a nice detail that they added. It just helps to keep things really secure. This is a very comfortable carry. I also love that you can wear this on the shoulder, but also crossbody. So I love having options with this bag. Hopefully this information was helpful for you if you're considering this bag. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below and I will do my best to answer. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving week and I will see you next time. Bye.